Hi, I wanted to ask you, I think you pointed to this in your comments, but it sounds like you've done a lot of talking to a lot of different people, a lot of listening. Can you just share what you're hearing and how you would apply that in your role as a school committee member?
Sure. So I guess I'll say two things on that. One is that just as part of my work designing education programs and also youth workforce programs, my job is literally to have focus groups of specific education stakeholder groups and really understand them and how they see their opportunities, what would incentivize them to come together. So this is just kind of my work process, and I know there's lots of gaps in my knowledge of Brookline's education system. So I've kind of seen the campaign trail as partly an opportunity to help fill them. So I would just highlight a couple things. One is that, a lot of the early questions I got were around how do you leach some of the toxicity out of the dialogue on education in Brookline? Because it's so nasty, it's so toxic, it's so polarized and angry. And my initial answer was really just like, let's work with independent organizations to hold forums where all education actors, the BEU, the school committee, parents, other community members could come together around topics that aren't negotiation topics, that are about like, what is a rounded curriculum? What does that look like? Or what does success in special education look like? Where we have the same objective. So it seems to me it would be a lot more congenial solutioning sessions that would result from that. But I wanted to do more than that. So I reached out also to Jess Wender-Shubo at the BEU. I reached out to Dr. Guillory and Jim Marini, and I reached out to some strong critics of the BEU to try to hear them out on what would bring them to a conversation where I don't want to say civility, because sometimes I feel like incivility is the legitimate recourse of the people shut out of a conversation, where people could really hear each other again. And they all responded to me really positively, saying that if I were to take that on as a school committee member, try to use it as a platform to promote conversation, they would support it. So that was really encouraging to me. And it also felt like a little of the legwork I could get done now. So if I'm on the school committee for a year seat, I could say, okay, Jessica Wender-Shubo, Dr. Guillory, folks who have been really critical of the union, like here's our first conversation. Our first conversation is going to be around X. And I think actually there are organizations that are doing this. Like I think what Lauren and Ben have done at the BPO has been great. Like they are really filling a need around providing a neutral platform for conversation where we can have a dialogue that's not just like throwing bombs at each other. Does that